Goldilocks and the Three Bears.
Once upon a time, there was a pretty girl named Goldilocks. She lived in a far-off country. One day, she was playing with her kittens. She seemed very happy, but she was also a bit naughty. She teased her kittens and one of them scratched her. Goldilocks decided to go for a walk in the woods behind her house. She walked and walked until she found a part of the woods she had never seen before. In this part of the woods lived a family of 3 bears. There was a great big bear, a middling-sized bear, and a teeny tiny bear. They all lived happily in a cosy little house. Goldilocks came to the bear's house and wondered who lived there. She decided to take a look inside. The bears were out for a walk, and their soup was cooling on the table. Goldilocks was very hungry. The soup smelled so good. She looked everywhere but couldn't find anyone. She decided to taste the soup. There were 3 bowls, a great big bowl, a middling-sized bowl, and a teeny tiny bowl. First, she tried the great big bowl. "Ouch!" she said. "This soup is too hot." Then she tried the middling-sized bowl. "Yuck!" she said. "This soup is too salty." Finally, she tried the teeny tiny bowl. "Yum!" she said. "This soup is just right." She ate it all up. After eating, Goldilocks saw 3 chairs. She sat in the great big chair, but it was too hard. She sat in the middling-sized chair, but it was too soft. She sat in the teeny tiny chair, and it was just right. She sat so long that she broke the chair. Goldilocks then went upstairs. She found 3 beds. She tried the great big bed, but it was too hard. She tried the middling-sized bed, but it was too soft. She tried the teeny tiny bed, and it was just right. She fell fast asleep. While Goldilocks was sleeping, the 3 bears came home. They were very hungry. The great big bear saw his bowl and said, "Who has been tasting my soup?" in his great big voice. The middling-sized bear said, "Who has been tasting my soup?" in his middling-sized voice. The teeny tiny bear said, "Who has been tasting my soup and tasted it all up?" in his teeny tiny voice. He was very sad. The bears then saw their chairs. The great big bear said, "Who has been sitting on my chair?" The middling-sized bear said, "Who has been sitting on my chair?" The teeny tiny bear said, "Who has been sitting on my chair and sat the bottom out?" He was very angry. The bears went upstairs. The great big bear saw his bed and said, "Who has been lying on my bed?" The middling-sized bear saw his bed and said, "Who has been lying on my bed?" The teeny tiny bear saw his bed and said, "Who has been lying on my bed and lies there still?" He was very surprised. Goldilocks woke up and saw the 3 bears. She was so scared. She jumped out of bed and ran to the window. She climbed out and ran away as fast as she could. She ran and ran until she reached her home. Her mother found her and hugged her. Goldilocks was safe, but she learned a lesson. She should not have meddled with other people's things. From that day on, Goldilocks tried to be a good girl and stay out of trouble.